So we have prophecy is a few people that were here by the shir yesterday, so we could try to continue in the shir yesterday.
Okay.
So we spoke about Emunis Chachamim, which means smicha. You don't hear? So we spoke about smichas Chachamim yesterday. Now there's a part over here in the Torah which the Rebbe starts, and the Rebbe says like this in Sif Hey. Sif Hey, if you open Sif Hey, you can see this lashon over here. Ach mi shekvar nishka be'ilu hamoisres. Whoever's already in the moisres. That means he fell already into the moisres, which the Rebbe speaks in the beginning of the Torah, that through Emunas Chachamim, you're protected from the moisres. Mishak Vashakua Beiro Amoises, the Rebbe says, Yeshmayim Shumitayr Mizois Atinoifes. This water is mitayr from this tinoifes. Now, actually, till Sif Hey, the Rebbe doesn't speak about the moisres, the Rebbe doesn't speak about calling the moisres tinoifes. All of a sudden, the moisres that we spoke, that we said that these are like ideas that keep on running around the head. It's called in the Sif Aleph, it's called Ashonim Sruchim. They run around in the head and they don't let a person be able to take a Eitzer Shleima, to be Moitzi Anogis Yishoros from Kol Alimudim Sheloimed. So here all of a sudden the Rebbe goes another step and he says that these Moisris are Tinoifes Betzim. And the Rebbe says there's water that's mitayr from these Moisris. B'bchinas v'zorakti aleichem mayim tohirim u'tehartem mikol tumoiseichem u'mikol giluleichem atay reschem. V'azai, after he gets this water, azai bo le'etzer shleima. That means he could get to Eitzer Shleima. B'bchinas v'lo yechzu l'shtei mamlochos oid v'lo yitamu oid b'giluleim. So we see that there's an idea that v'lo yechzu oid l'shtei mamlochos. That means when there's a chalukas ha'etzer, that's like two mamlochos that are separated, and a person can't get to the derech hamemutza, to get to the right decision. Shalidei shenitolim hagilulim v'atinoifes hanal. I'm reading from Sif Hey, that's Chof Gimel over here in the big Oisius. Aridei ze v'lo yechzu l'shtei mamlochos b'chinas eitzois k'mo shekosuv malki yushpar aloch. Dahainu shezoichel Eitzer Shleimo, ki adi amayim anal, through these waters, nasim etzlo Eitzer Shleimois, v'vchinas mayim amukim, Eitzo b'leiv ish. So all of a sudden here in Sif Hey, the Rebbe says that the way to get out of Tinoifes, the way to get out of Moises is through mayim amitara. Now actually, it's a shtickle kash over here, because in the beginning of the Torah, the Rebbe says the way to deal with the Moises is through Emunas Chachamim. So it's supposed to be l'chayra, a simple eitzah, that through Emunas Chachamim we get the horror from the Chochmei Eloah, and through that, all that we spoke yesterday, all the sichlim protim get connected into seichel hakoilu, and that way a person gets to Eitzer Shleima. And all of a sudden the Rebbe is speaking about water that's mitayr. What's more interesting is that right away the Rebbe says, what's the water that's mitayr a person? So the Rebbe is mamshich and says, ve'elu hamayim b'chinas machloikis. B'chinas mei merivo. It's the Indian for mei merivo, that we see that there's an idea of water that's called mei merivo. That means water could be an idea of machloikis. Valkei machloikis, says the Rebbe, nikra plukta, in the Gemara machloikis is called plukta. Why is it a plukta? B'chinas peleg eloikim mayim. That shows that there's an idea, there's something in the water that's called peleg, that it's mechulik. Anyways, a little later in Omud Chof Hey, the Rebbe says, "V'hakol lefi hamachloikis." Well, we'll connect soon everything together. Everything will be understood. We'll have to try to remember the words. V'hakol lefi hamachloikis k'mistakel u'mizboinim b'machloikis mipnei mayim choylkim kach. Why are the people that are choylek in this way? Be'elu adiburim, the choylek with such kind of words, with such kind of tiness. V'loi boyu fenach, and why aren't they choylek in a different way? Through looking at the way of the machloikis that's meeting him, he's mizboinin the machloikis, and through that he knows how to be shov b'tshuva or letaken emunas chachomim, ki mishom nimshach hamachloikis, ayde shepogem b'emunas chachomim. Since the whole reason why there is machloikis on him, which is chalukas ha'etza, is coming from the begam emunas chachomim, so lechoyer to be metaken the machloikis, you have to go back to emunas chachomim, you have to be shov b'tshuva in the inyan from emunas chachomim. But the way to be shov b'tshuva is to look at the machloikis, to be mizboinen in the machloikis, and through that to understand how to be shov b'tshuva. So this thing needs an explanation over here. What does it mean to be mizboinen in the machloikis? So we understand from the connections of the Torah that every process, every anoga that a person meets, that the anoga is choylik on him. This hanoga, a person has to look and see why this hanoga, daika, is the hanoga that's choylik on me, and not letting me get to the hanogas yeshoros, not letting me. Now we're speaking about the whole idea in the beginning. If mikol alimudim shodem lo yimed, he should be moitzi hanogas yeshoros. That means that there could be hanogas she'ena yeshoros. If the challenge is that anything in life, every experience in life, I should be able to be moitzi from my experience, hanogos yeshoros, and to be zoichet, the Rebbe says you need emunas chachomim. That means that if I won't have the emunas chachomim, I will be challenged with hanogos that are not taking me to hanogos yeshoros. Now the power of these hanogos that are not yeshoros to distract me from the goal and from the eitz shlema that I need, to be metaking this thing, I have to look into the machloikis and understand where is the machloikis, and then I know through that where I have to be misak. Because again, there has to be that the machloikis is coming from a begam emunas chachom. So if I look into the machloikis, I could see where in the machloikis itself it's telling me how to be misak and emunas chachomim. So we have to understand, the Rebbe doesn't speak more about this idea over here in Sifei. It's words that l'chor it's very hard to understand. What does it mean a person should be mizboinen in the machloikis be'elu adiburim, and see through that how to be shov b'tshuva to emunas chacham? But through the connections of the Torah, we understand that it means that if there's any hanoga that's choylik on you, if I would have a better word in English, how to say hanoga that's choylik on you?
Any custom or anything anybody does.
Any situation that's happening, any situation in life, any challenge in life.
Can you give a practical example? Just give us a practical example from your own life, maybe. Sorry.
Okay. So we spoke yesterday. We spoke about the idea of business, panosa, that a person has a chalukah said. So we could speak also about chinuch from children, which we all have. So you have one of your children you're very challenged by him. From the situation of the anoga, what the Eibishter is driving with this child, in any kind of challenge that you will have with him. So if you're looking at this challenge, you feel there's anoga with the idea, with this in Indian from chinuch yilodim, you feel that you're challenged over there. The anoga that's being done with you is challenging you. It's against where you would, against your goal, where you would really want to be with your children. So that means the reason why it's happening, that itself is the Mayim HaMetahara. It's like a present. Why? Because that means that it's showing you that in this subject, you didn't have till now emunas chachomim, you didn't have smichas chachomim. What does it mean you didn't have till now smichas chachomim? You were trying to control the outcome and thinking that the way you see things, the way you understand things, this is going to bring the good outcome that you want to have. And that's the b'gam that you had in emunas chachomim. And since you made that b'gam, so the situation disconnected itself from the seichel hakoil, like we spoke yesterday. So the seichel hakoil could not come in to the tzimtzum, and it couldn't be at mamtik. So the reason why the situation is not a good situation, it's in from a din to you, it's hanoga that's challenging you, is because you disconnected it with the idea that you didn't have emunas chacham, you disconnected it from the seichel hakoil. So the seichel hakoil can't come in, it can't become the skal and become nimtak and be mamtik your matziv. So the eitz of it is to dafka be, look at where the machlokes is, look into the situation, and over there be mitaken the emunas chachamim. That means give over the control, make smichas chachamim, give over the control of the situation back to the chachma Eloi. Now it would be very nice maybe to explain this whole idea of what's chachma Eloi and what's a seichel prati and what's a seichel kloli. We'll explain it maybe in better words that come out from the Torah. So everything started the way the Rebbe explains it. The world started, any tzimtzum, anything started kikach gozro chochmosei, and the Eibishter was geyser that everything in the world should have a tmuna, its measures. Everything in the world has the way it looks, the measures, what it's used for, and it started with oisius. The Rebbe says. The beginning, the Eibishter thought, Gozr Chochmosei, he made the Ois Aleph. Ois Aleph has a tzura. That was the first thing in the world that had a tzura. In a world that everything was Ein Soif, there was nothing called a tzura. There wasn't a tzura of it. Everything was one. The beginning of everything is that the Eibishter, Gozr Chochmosei, it started with the Chochma from the Eibishter, and he was Gozer that he wants to make a Ois that's like a Chakika. He made Ois Aleph, and then there's a Ois Beis. Ois Beis is different than Aleph, and Gimel and Dalet. That's the beginning of all the tzuras and all the tzimtzumim that there are in the world. Like the Rebbe says over here in the Torah, that everything started from the Even Ashtir. Even Ashtir is called Even Ashtir because, like Chazal said, that on all of Nishtas Ha'olam, the beginning of the world was in the Even Ashtir, and the Rebbe says that in Even Ashtir, Kol HaTzimtzumim Nirshomim Shom be'even ashtir. That means the beginning with shegozer chochmosei, to make a world, and the world needs a tzura, and the world needs a tzimtzum. So the Eibishter was choykek tzuras from oisius in the even ashtir, and the Rebbe says that all the tzimtzum in the world till today, kulam boim misham, all the tzimtzum come, v'kulam mikablim misham, and all the tzimtzum are mikabel from this even ashtir. So how does it work? Gozer Chochmosei, there should be tzimtzumah, so the Eibishter made oisis, and they were put into the Even Ashtir. And after they were put into the Even Ashtir, the Rebbe says that the Torah came from the Chochma Eloi, from the Even Ashtir. That means that's the beginning of all the sichlim that there are in the world, and it's called the Seichel HaKoilel. The Torah is the Seichel HaKoilel. That's the beginning of the tzimtzum, which could be in a tzimtzum of Seichel. Because we can't have a world of Seichel. Seichel means understanding. That's understanding things that could be understood is a creation of the Eibishter. He made the idea what could be understood, what cannot be understood. Like, for very, very simple, one and one sound is very clear to us that it's two. But the reason why one and one are two, the real reason is Kikach Gozra Chochmosei. Chochmosei made it to be sensible and knowledgeable that we should be able to connect and count that one and one are two, because without the Eibishter, one and one could come out three, and if one and one would come out three, we wouldn't have a world, because if one and one are three, or from one time it could come out two, and one time it could come out six, we would have a serious problem. We wouldn't have a world, we wouldn't have stability, nothing would be able to stand. A table needs 4 feet. There's a reason why it needs 4 feet. Everything has its misgeres, its tzimtzum. So all the tzimtzumim started in the beginning from Even Ashtir. They went into the Torah in a way of it's called Seichel HaKoilel. And in the beginning already, when the Seichel HaKoilel, that means the Seichel that's running, the thought, the machshava, the human kind of understanding, the big picture, that from that we understand everything, is called the Seichel HaKoilel. But in the Seichel HaKoilel already we have all the Sichlim Protim. Because we can't have a Seichel HaKoilel without Sichlim Protim. What makes a Seichel HaKoilel, B'chlal, to be a Seichel HaKoilel? That it has in itself Protim. If there wouldn't be Protim, it wouldn't be called a Seichel HaKoilel, it would be called one. It's one. One is not a Seichel HaKoilel, it's not Koilel anything, it doesn't have any Klolius, it's just one. The idea of a Seichel HaKoilel is that it has a lot of Protim in it. That's the beauty of it. The beauty of it is that it's able to be one understanding that all the Sichlim Protim are Kol in the Seichel HaKoilel. So everything started from a Seichel HaKoilel, which that's the Torah, which the Torah took its Seichel, came from the Chochma. Chochma is higher than Seichel. That's the Chochma Eloi, which that's the Even Ashtir. So it started off Kikozra Chochmosei, the Eibishter made Oisius, and the Oisius, they created the Seichel HaKoilel, which that's the Torah. And from the Torah, started the idea of development of Sichlim Pratim, which they are already included in the Seichel HaKol, but they keep it going down and down. So every tzimtzum in the world today is a Seichel Prati. Every tzimtzum means not just an object of like this is a Seichel Prati, an idea. If two people are fighting about any stupid thing, it's two tzimtzumim, two Sichlim Pratim that are challenging each other. And it's important to understand that a Seichel HaPrati, the way the Eibishter created the world, is that a Seichel HaPrati has to have the capability to disconnect itself from the Seichel HaKloli. What does it mean, disconnect itself? If a Seichel HaPrati, maybe I'm thinking I'm going too fast. People don't understand what a Seichel HaPrati is, and I'm speaking about already. A Seichel HaPrati. Any idea that lives for itself, like, we know that, let's say, money. Someone wants money. He wants a lot of money. He's right now in a Seichel Prati. It's a way he sees life. He sees life as something that you can't live without having money, a lot of money. He wants to be rich, whatever it is. He's living in a Seichel Prati. This idea to be rich and to have Taivas Mammon has to be able to exist for itself and disconnect itself from any way of seeing the Eibishter in it. Because if a person would be able to, as soon as he wants money and he has a taiva for money, he would see right away that it doesn't make sense because there's a higher purpose in the world. So this idea would not be able to exist. It would become this battle. We need a world where we could give ourselves purpose and all kinds of things. But the beauty of it is that when the Seichel Prati is able to recognize from itself that it's shaykh to a higher Seichel HaKloli, so then actually we could see how all the Sichlim Pratim are coming back into a Seichel Kloli. So we'll make it clear again. A Sichlim Pratim, they come out of the Seichel Kloli. A Seichel Prati has to have its own kind of understanding, its own kind of existence in a person's mind. And like we see, people could live their whole lives in a certain Seichel Prati, and you can't disconnect them from it. And like we said yesterday, any kind of Seichel Kloli that you try to explain him, to change his mind about his Seichel Prati, any big idea. Seichel Kloli is a big idea. If you wanted to, you find a person that's angry, he's fighting around about something. Like two people are fighting. Everyone's explaining that he's right. So you go over to one of them and you say, listen, let me tell you something. You're right. You have a good taina. He started off the first, he took away your property, he took away your money, whatever it is. But do you understand that by wasting your time fighting with this guy, you're just going to aggravate yourself? You're going to get into a certain bad energy. You're going to waste your life a few years fighting with him in court, and it's not going to be worth the fight. If a person understands that, if I say that to him, that means he understood a Seichel Kloli higher than his tzimtzum, his Seichel Prati. He was in a certain Seichel Prati, which means that right now, I have to fight for this thing, I have to fight for this reason. I gave him a higher look, a Seichel Kloli, which in this Seichel Kloli, it means that even though it's true that I should stand up for my rights and I should stand up for my money, but in a situation where I could lose years of my life, it's not worth the money. That's a Seichel Kloli. Now, if I have two people fighting, I'm able to explain it to both people, and they stop fighting, and they make peace between themselves, that means that they both connected themselves. Even though everyone's a Seichel Prati and is representing his own purpose, his own need, they right now connected themselves to a higher idea that's a higher Seichel Kloli. So the whole world works in a way that everything that's coming out into the world is coming out as Sichlim Pratim, which are called Tzimtzumim. Now, a tzimtzum, the Rebbe says over here in the Torah, a tzimtzum, the Rebbe calls it tzimtzumim v'dinim. It sounds like something that's negative, a din. Dinim are not good. The Rebbe speaks about amtokas adinim. So dinim are not good. But the truth is that everything in the world has to be in a way of a tzimtzum and a seichel prati, like we explained before. If it doesn't have its own way to exist, it won't exist. A table has to exist because it has 4 feet. It doesn't make a difference in the world if you understand there's a Eibishter, you don't understand there's a Eibishter. The world, a table has to stand. Even though we know the truth that a table can't stand without the Eibishter, but in the world it has to look like it's not proof that there's a Eibishter. The minute you'll be able to see through a table, you'll be able to see the real existence, the pnimius, the klolius of it, which that means the Eibishter is giving the existence of it, you wouldn't be able to recognize that a table doesn't have 4 feet, and understand that if it has only 3 feet, you have to put a 4th foot. That has to be 4 feet, because it would look to you like everything is run by the Eibishter. So why does it need 4 feet? But the Eibishter wants a world where you should be focused on having a table with 4 feet and making sure that if 1 foot gets broke, you fix it. So we're going back again, that everything in the world has to be in the tzimtzum and has to be in the seichel prati. But the whole idea is to bring everything back. That we should be able to recognize, even though the seichel prati is a seichel prati and the tzimtzum is a tzimtzum, we should be able to see through the tzimtzum, the high idea that gives the existence to this seichel prati. And that's what's called over here in the Torah Amtokas Adinim. And it's a new way how to look at the idea of Amtokas Adinim. Even though Amtokas Adinim is a very wide subject, which in the Kutumaran itself, there's so many Torahs that speak about what Hamtokas Adinim means, and for sure in other Svarim it's all around Primis HaTorah, the idea of Hamtokas Adinim. Hamtokas Adinim, the word Hamtoka means it's like sweetening up the din. What does it mean, sweetening up the din? It's not taking away the din. It's not making the tzimtzum not to be. We can't exist without din. We can't exist without tzimtzum. It's being able to see through the tzimtzum, getting to a knowledge, a higher knowledge, which by this higher knowledge, you're taking the tzimtzum and you're bringing it back to the seichel hakoil. It's becoming one with the seichel hakoil. That's called Amtokas Hadinim. So over here in the Torah, if the Rebbe is speaking about an idea of Amtokas Hadinim, and then the Rebbe is speaking about another idea of Iskalulus, which Iskalulus is also a very wide subject in Pnimis HaTorah. Through Torah Samachalev, we could get to an understanding and a feeling how with one feeling we could feel everything. What does it mean, one feeling everything? A lot of times in the Kutam the Rebbe speaks about like several ideas. He could speak about 5, 6 ideas, and it could come out that every idea for itself is a certain kind of avoida, a certain kind of way of looking and seeing things. But the deepness of Rav Nachman is that it all comes into one picture. That means with one tnuah, with one avoida, every simple person could be mamtik dinim. We don't have to go to mekubolim to be mamtik dinim. We don't have to go to all kinds of, the Rebbe speaks over here about Rebbe Sheini Hogum. We don't have to go, in Israel it's called, I'm sorry for the world, it's called babot. It's like you think that if you want hamtokas sadinim, that's like you're dealing with higher stuff now. This is not like saying simply, I want a Yeshua. Even though the Rebbe is speaking about Yeshua here in the Torah. Ezav Yeshua, everyone needs a Yeshua. But when the Rebbe gives it the words, Amtokas Sadinim, it sounds like you really have to be someone very high to know how to be mamtik the din. The beauty about the Torah is from the Rebbe that he lets every person, he teaches every person that every person could be mamtik dinim on himself every second. And the idea of being mamtik dinim is one idea with his scholarless. That means if anyone ever had a feeling of the joy of Iskalulus, the Iskalulus means being able to rise over my own symptom where I am right now in. Every aliyah, every service and ruchnius, when a person feels higher, he's really going into a higher way of seeing things. So he's niskal in a higher picture. The idea of going into a higher place and the idea of being mamtik dinim is one thing. And it's done with one move, in a very simple move. So we could mamish, the Rebbe said, I'm taking you all in away from big tzaddikim. He's not just giving us simple eitzes, practical eitzes, how to get better. He's teaching us how to be in the first highest level, that every simple Jew could mamish walk around ke'echad agdoilim, ke'echad amekubolim, and teach, not just teach himself how to be mamtik dinim and be mamtik from himself dinim every second, every experience in life. He could even explain to other people and help other people be mamtik dinim. So how, through Torah Samachalef, could a person with one move, with one idea, with one feeling, simple, be mamtik the dinim from himself right now, and go into the feeling of Iskalulus, that even Iskal in a higher seichel, what comes out from Torah Samach Aleph, the minute you give up control, you let go of trying to control your situation, the hanaga that you're trying to push, that we spoke before about the chinuch from children. If you have a problem with chinuch from children, you're trying to dominate the situation. It doesn't mean you don't need a shtadlis about anything. So if you have a son that you think that you have to speak to him more about ruchnius and tell him more about chinuch, which is important. Chanoich l'nara pidarkoi, you have to do it. But the way you're supposed to do it is not in a way where you feel that you're really the one that's responsible and you're really able to dominate the outcome of what's going to be here. Like if I'm going to tell him if I'm going to wake him up 10 times in the morning for Shacharis and tell him, it's late already, and I'm going to do all this kind of stuff that I'm doing for the last 5-10 years and it's not working so much, and you have to sit and learn, I want you to be on time in yeshiva, and I want this, and I want you to clean, I want you to be... We keep on demanding things from our children. But it's not just from our children, it's in everything. It's in business. We're trying to run everything. We're trying to run our own lives. And it's good. We do have to do it because the whole idea is we should have a seichel prati. We should be in a tzimtzum. That's the idea. We should be in that situation. But it has to come all back to the seichel hakoilel. And the way to bring it in is just let go. In Hebrew it's called larpot. Let go, larpot. And give over the control over this to the Seichel HaKloli. Why? Because we explained that anyways, everything in the world started off already. In the first day when the Eibishter created the world, Ki Gozra Chochmasoi, and he made the Oisius, and he put them into the Even Ashtia, every tzimtzum in the world, for till Mashiach is going to come, and maybe even later, it was already set up in that Seichel HaKloli. It's all there. But it had a reason why it had to become nishtalshel and go down in every kind of version of tzimtzumim in the world. What you have to do is bring it all back. So like the Rebbe says, if a person looks at every challenge, he mizboinin b'machloikis, mipnei ma choilkim, why are they choilkim this way and that way? That means why is that noga challenging me specifically in this thing? That means because in this thing you were taking too much control. You were supposed to pick yourself up. You're supposed to give over the control to the higher Chochmah Eloi. Now, what's very interesting over here in Torah Samach Aleph is that this experience, that with the one move you give over control, and that becomes the Amtokas Hadinim, and that becomes the Iskalus, that's called your Torah Shebal Peh. Why? Because the Rebbe explains that there's two things. There's Torah Shebeksav, which we all know, and there's Torah Shebal Peh. And the Rebbe says that the Ikar Shleimus of Torah Shebeksav is Torah Shebal Peh. What does it mean that the Shleimus from Torah Shebeksav is Torah Shebal Peh? That means that if we only have Torah Shebeksav, the Torah Shebeksav would not have its Shleimus. Why? Because in a generation like now, or all the generations from when Moshe Rabbeinu brought down the Torah Shebeksav, the Torah Shebeksav is challenged every time with different kind of generations, with different kind of tzimtzumim. That's why we have, after Torah Shebeksav, after the Aseres HaDibris, which that's the beginning of Torah Shebeksav, that's the Luchos Seven, we have the Chamisha Chumshei Torah, which are giving us the Tariag Mitzvahs. But then we needed Chazal, we needed the Gemara, because the Gemara is trying to explain how do we use the Torah Shebeksav in such a situation. I mean, it's developing. The Torah Shebeksav is developing itself a whole time, and it's getting a bigger shleimus. It's becoming wider. It's relevant. Let's say it's relevant. The Torah Shebeksav has a system in itself which it's trying, and it has to be relevant for any generation and for any situation for every person. And when a person is living through his personal life, and he's doing what the Rebbe says in the beginning of the Torah, Shemoitzi anogois yishoros v'mishpotim yishorim mikol halimudim shelo imed. That means from every experience that he's challenged in life, he's able to look through it and learn and be moitzi anogois yishoros. That means he's developing right now a Torah Shebal Peh, his own personal Torah Shebal Peh. His developing the Torah Shebal Peh is critical for the Amtokas Hadinim. It's one with Amtokas Hadinim. It's not that I'm living a life where I'm challenged with my personal situation, with my personal way of thinking, of seeing things, with my personal personality, which I have to the whole time be moitzi hanogos yishoros. And then there's another idea of living a life of Torah Shebal Peh and being Mekayim Torah Shebal Peh. It's one thing. When a person is able to look at the Torah as the Torah, and he's able to take out from the Torah and make a shleimus to the Torah Shebiksav through his own experience in life and living the life of halacha, of Torah, which that's Torah Shebal Peh, with this life he's mamtik dinim. And that's called Torah Shebal Peh. He brings a shleimus to his life. He brings a shleimus to Torah Shebiksav. So since we understand the connection between giving over control to the Chochmah Eloah, which that means giving over control to the Torah Shebiksav, and we understand the connection of that idea to everyone should develop his own personal Amtokas Adinim, his own personal Torah Shebal Peh. Since we understand that part, it's very understood what the Rebbe says, that part of Emunas Chachamim is not just to believe in the Chachamim and the Rabbonim. Is part of the Emunas Chachamim is believing in yourself. The Rebbe says that a person can maybe think he has Emunas Chachamim. He never Chaz v'Shalom was mevaze or Talmud Chacham. He would never laughed at any halacha in Shulchan Aruch. But still there's a begam in Emunas Chachamim. How could that be? Because the Rebbe says that part of the Emunas Chachamim is that a person should believe in himself. What does it mean, believe in himself? The Rebbe says, believe in your own chidushim. That means if you have a chiddush in Torah, you have to understand that it's not a question that maybe it's a nice chiddush or not a nice chiddush. If you feel that for you this is a new chiddush, this is a new das, that's your journey, that's your Torah Shebal Peh. Now, to live a life that you believe in Chachamim, Emunas Chachamim, but you don't believe that you have a personal journey in life, that's a steer to the Emunas Chachamim, the high Emunas Chachamim. You can't say, I believe that there's a Torah Shebiksav, and I understand that the Torah Shebiksav gets its shleimus through Torah Shebal Peh, and not understand your own goal that you have in the development of Torah Shebal Peh. If a person is going to say, I believe in all the Chachamim, and I listen to Chachamim, I myself don't think I have anything personal to give or to say, that means you don't believe in the Chachamim. Because if you would believe in the Chachamim, and you would learn Torah Samachal, if you would understand what it means to believe in Chachamim, you would know that there's a Seichel Prati and there's a Seichel Kloli. You would understand that the whole idea is that your Seichel Prati should become Nimtak and go into the Seichel Kloli. So you have to exist as a Seichel Prati. You have to bring a shleimus to the Torah Shebiksav. If you don't understand that you have something to give for Torah Shebiksav, so you don't understand what Torah Shebiksav is all about. So maybe you could say, I have a Emunas Chachamim, but you don't understand what Chacham is about. It's not a chachma to say, I have a minas chachomim, just throw the words around. Part of believing in minas chacham is understanding what you believe in. So if I believe in chachomim, I believe in the chachma. I give trust in the chachma. I give trust in the chachma that I could be able to be connected and to be moitzi hanogos yeshoros. When a person is moitzi la'atzmei, the Rebbe says, hanogos yeshoros, from a place that he's challenged from Ashonim Sruchim, from Moisrois, that are disconnecting him. And he's challenged, he's trying to cut his way, like the Rebbe says, to Derech Memutza. He's trying to take out a mishpat that's right. What he just now did is, he took down from the Chochmah Eloah the lightness, and he brought it into his life, and through that he was able to bring mamtik, his own situation, and come out with mishpotei hanogos yishoros. That means he developed his own personal Torah Shebal Peh.
Question.
Yes.
Let's apply this to a practical example.
Yeah.
You said, okay, I'm trying a certain derech. Okay. I want to bring this down to a practical level.
Yeah.
So you mentioned, for example, a chinuch problem with your child. You're trying to get them to daven. You're trying to get them. You put them in a specific yeshiva. You want them to perform in that yeshiva. It's gaitnish.
Right.
So at that point, okay, the hamtakas adin would be to say, I'm missing something. I need to put
make it closer. People should hear.
Sorry?
No, just hold it closer. People should. Yeah.
The way I'm thinking to do it is not working for this child. Adrabah, maybe it's making it worse. Maybe it's making it a little bit better, but it's not right. So I have to realize, there's something of a Chachmei law I have to connect to. Therefore, you have to give your das to the Chachmei law, right?
Yeah.
But then, okay, you still need a practical plan how to proceed.
Yeah.
So is that practical plan coming to you directly from Hashem? You say, listen, I have to throw my hands up and say, Hashem, I took it this far, I hit a dead end, and now I give it to you because I don't know what to do. And then Hashem is going to send you an idea, a different path?
Yeah. Yes, I'll explain. Very nice.
Correct?
Yeah. So the question is very good. And I should have explained a little better. Actually, that's what when the Rebbe says that a person could get to Eitzah Shlema, that means that after you do your part, that you let go, and you give trust into the Chochmei Eloah. So the Rebbe says then the Chochmei Eloah brings a hara back, and the hara is the Eitzah that comes into your mind. But why is it called the Eitzah Shlema? Because now it's Sholem, because it includes in itself all the the whole situation with what you're dealing with right now. So it means that it's not just, it doesn't mean I'm giving away control, I'm not saying anything anymore. First of all, the move is not the idea if I'm saying more or saying less, it's the way you feel. Even if I do say to my son things, if I feel that I'm saying it, but I'm giving trust in the Chochmei Eloah, that's already a change. When you start feeling that you're in control, and you have to make sure he heard what you said, and you said it loud enough, that shows that it's like the idea of a ishtadlis and bitochen and ishtadlis. It's the same kind of idea, which we know we're supposed to do ishtadlis, but the way we look at ishtadlis is in eyes of bitochen. So here in the Torah, the Rebbe doesn't speak about ishtadlis and bitochen, but in different words, he speaks about tzimtzumim and about smichas chachomim. So actually it works that we do the first move we do to solve the situation is we do smichas chachomim. That's called emunas chachomim. And right away the Rebbe says, once you give emunas chachomim, so you give the power taka for the Chochmei Eloah to get empowered and bring a lightness and a hara back down to all the sichlim pratim. So then all the sichlim pratim start connecting themselves, and they all become into one seichel koilul, which that's a eitzah. It's like we spoke Shabbos, that every confusion that a person has is because there's several sichlim pratim that are running around his mind, and they're confusing him. Like the Rebbe says, one of the lashonis over here is in Sif Daled. The Rebbe says, Sif Daled, that's Chov Beis in the big Oisius. The Rebbe says, Val yidei ze ein lo eitzah shleima lo'olam, v'tomid ein yochoi lo seis eitzah la'atzmoi, v'tomid mesupek, ki kol eitzoisov b'bchinas eitzois nevorois, and v'chulei. That means till a person doesn't do the idea, the avoid of emunas chachamim, his life is a life that he's confused the whole time, confused about everything. And even when he does get an eitzah, it's not always an eitzah shleim. It's good for today, it's not good for tomorrow. How do we live a life that we should be inspired the whole time with the help, like the Rebbe calls it by the end of the Torah, the Rebbe puts the pasuk in, Yishlach Ezrecha Mekodesh. That the Rebbe says that the Ezer v'Yeshua that a person needs comes from above. How do we awaken that power, that Chochmei Eloah that could come in and bring a lightness into all the sichlim pratim that are confusing me because they're not connected to each other. Every way of seeing things is living for itself. And like we spoke yesterday, when a person can't get to a true eitzah is because his mind is mixed up with ideas, which every idea for itself has an explanation. It's a way to see something. You can't tell the person what you're saying. Like we spoke about business. If you want to invest in something, and there's two sides to the deal. One side is that it's a very big risk. Now, not putting money into something that the risk is very big and you can lose your money, it's a very stable seichel prati. There has to be such an idea in the world that a person thinks before he puts the money. If the risk is too big, he doesn't put in the money. That has to make sense. It's not just it makes sense, it has to make sense. Because if not, we wouldn't have a world today. If we wouldn't have any kind of sense of where to put in money and where's the risk. Mitzat Sheni, he's confused because he says that maybe the risk is big, but the potential of this deal I could become very rich. And there's a lot of stories of people that took risks and they became rich because they took the risk. So which way is right? So you have two kinds of ways of seeing things, which each way is true. It's a knowledgeable thing. But they have to sit together for me to be able to live my life. I can't live my life and every single thing. One guy's going to tell me it's better not to tell your children anything. Believe me. Don't tell them anything, just give him love. The other guy will tell him this. It doesn't work that way. You have to say something from time to time. So now I'm confused. Should I say something? How much should I say? That's why we need in life Hanogois Yeshoros, which the Rebbe calls it Derech HaMemutza. Derech HaMemutza is bring everything into consideration and come out with a decision, which this decision is a mishpat emes. This decision is a seichel koil. This decision is the Eitzah Shlema. There's a murdic connection between an Eitzah, and like we explained the idea of an Eitzah. And we'll say it again because it's so true. Every Eitzah, when a person gets a Eitzah, a true Eitzah, is a Seichel Koilo. And like we said yesterday, if you go to a smart person and you tell him, I have a certain situation, I need an Eitzah. You're smart. Could you give me an Eitzah? The Eitzah, what I'm expecting from this smart person, from this Chacham and his Eitzah, that he should listen to my conflict that I have. And he should be able to consider all sides and come up with an idea which would be good for me, and all the challenges that I brought up would be considered. If that's called an Eitzah. So an Eitzah is a Seichel Kloli. And we need a whole time Eitzah. So we need Seichlim Klolim. So the Eitzah for this is, to get this Eitzah, I'm answering again your question, is to give over control to the Chachmei Lo, understand that anything that's coming out, any confusion, any tikkun, the fixing of it has to come from the Chachmei Lo. Once I give the Chachmei Lo the responsibility, I give him the smicha, so then he gets empowered. And then Thomas, he has the koyach to bring that back into you, the Eitzah Shlema. So that's in the big look of Sichlim Protim and Sichlim Klolim. But over here now, let's finish about Rosh Hashanah. Here in Uman, the whole idea, Fitur Samachalef, that everyone's coming Rosh Hashanah to the Tzaddik. Why are we coming to the Tzaddik? So the Rebbe says by the end of the Torah, V'zeh p'chinas Siv Zayin, V'zeh p'chinas ma shenoistin al Rosh Hashanah letzadikim, ki Rosh Hashanah yoyim ededina shel kol Hashanah, v'kol echod ve'echod bo im gdushosoi v'tzimtzumo v'latzadik ador, שהוא בחינת קודשי קודשים, בחינת אבן שתיה, בחינת כי לשם מצוקי אורץ ויושס עליהם תבל, שהם הצדיקים שלהם נשתס האוילום, ועל ידי זה נמתוקים כל הדינים על ידי בחינת אבן שתיה. These words that look very high, and they are very high words, but if you learn the whole Torah, what it means to say is that the whole idea of the movement of being able to live a life, that you're moving from your Seichel Proti and becoming a Skal and a Seichel Kloli, and getting from the Seichel HaKloli Eitzois and Mayim HaMetaharim, all of this is happening also in the etzem thing of everybody going to the Tzaddik. Because by going to the Tzaddik, the Rebbe says everyone's coming from his personal life, from his personal place, from his personal experience. Like we see Uman today, everyone's coming to one Rebbe, Rab Nachman, but everyone's coming from a different place, a different symptom. We have thousands of people that are mamish different one from each other and everything. But the beauty is that everyone feels that he's able to connect from his personal view, his personal way of living, he's able to connect to this Seichel Kloli. That's the whole idea of coming to Uman, because the Tzaddik, which means the Torah of the Tzaddik, is a Seichel Kloli. When I'm coming to the Tzaddik, I'm becoming part of his neshama, of his Seichel. So the whole movement of coming Rosh Hashanah is being niskal and being mamtik dinim. And one more last thing which is important. You can't think yourself as a Seichel Proti that wants to become niskal in a Seichel Kloli if you can't recognize not just that you're a Seichel Proti, that everyone that's around you, every other Jew, is also a Seichel Proti. If someone's going to say, I'm ready to give up, I'm a Seichel Proti, I'm leaving, I'm taking my boundaries away, I want to become the Skal and the Seichel Kloli. And if you ask him, how do you see your other brothers, other friends that are walking around here in Uman? What do you say about them? Do you like them? Do you love them? He just say, oh, I'm not having nothing against them. That's in a good matzav, but I'm not really loving them. The Rebbe says over here that the idea of being able to bring your seichel prati and become part of a seichel kloli and become the skal in this place that's called the tzaddik, that he's the seichel kloli, is toli anan bechavivus setalia. We have to love every other person that's part of the whole journey together. Why is it? And it makes sense, because you can't say that you really understand that you're a seichel prati and you want to get higher into a seichel kloli when you don't recognize what's part of the seichel kloli. If I'm able to recognize that everyone around me is also a seichel prati, so I want to be connected with him, I love him, so then I could become the skal into the seichel kloli. But if I'm dividing myself from anybody else, you won't really become the skal in the seichel kloli, because you don't understand, first of all, what the seichel kloli is all about. So if you don't understand what the seichel kloli, how could you really connect to that seichel kloli? So the Biluv de Lamaisa, the avoid the feature Samachalef over here in today and tomorrow and Rosh Hashanah Befrat is to be busy looking around and seeing how every other person around you is so important for this big idea of everyone being a seichel prati and everyone coming back into the seichel kloli. Being busy. The Rebbe speaks over here in Samachalef also about Simcha. The Rebbe brings the pasuk Ert Tzadikim Yismach. Being busy, being happy. Being happy is avodah. Being happy and being able to see and look at every other person and love every other person that's coming to the kibbutz by the Rebbe's Rosh Hashanah. There's no b'di'evet over here. And this I would love to speak in Yiddish. They would understand me better what I'm talking about, because they're living this challenge a lot more than the people that are coming from wherever in America. The people that they speak Yiddish usually, like they're the old home Breslovers, they feel like Rab Nachman was stole from them. They were Breslovers for 40, 60 years. They lived through Machloikis. They came to Uman when it was very hard. So it's my Rebbe. All of a sudden, you have like 40,000 people popping up, moving into the place, and they're like, the Rebbe is mine. And he says, wait, like 1 second, let me explain something. You're new here, no man? Okay, so I'm Gottlieb, okay? My father was Breslov, my grandfather was Breslov. I know what Breslov is all about. If you want to say anything about the Rebbe, you come ask me. You come speak to me. Don't just walk around the streets and everyone's opening up his own shul and everyone's representing Rab Nachman. I don't like that idea. We're the ones that we're supposed to be in charge over here. So after we understood that we're not in control, we would like to be in control, but we're not in control, we started looking at it as some kind of a b'di'evet. That means, the truth is that the Rebbe wants a Rosh Hashanah where everyone's coming, people that are Shomrei Torah mitzvahs, medagdekim ba'alocha, long pays, big beards. But like someone walks through the Pushkin Street and he sees the dancing with the music, with the trance music, so he says, the Rebbe has to deal with them too. These are neshamas. Like, what should we do? Like, I understand you, Rebbe. Rab Nachman, I understand you. I would really like you to be busy with me, because I'm the Breslover. I'm the one that a whole year is trying to connect to you. And I understand that you have to give some time away also for other kinds of rechoikim. I accept it, Rebbe. Be matzliach. It's good, I understand. And probably if there's music and pushkin that I don't like, I believe that in some way it's a tikkun. Yeah, it's that's the way to it's a mistake. It's a mistake. The way to look at when you walk through Kikar Pushkina is to be so excited about the success of the Rebbe, what the Rebbe is doing here. If we take a look about Uman, this is a movement. It's a movement of tshuva that didn't exist for thousands of years. We have thousands of rechoikim coming to Uman when they had a choice not to come, to stay in wherever they live and live a life. I don't know what they do on Rosh Hashanah if they don't come here, where they are. If they go to shul to daven, they had a choice. They chose to give out $1,500 and come 48 hours and sleep in all kinds of tents over here to be here with the Rebbe Rosh Hashanah. This Fryer guy or this Chiloini that you don't like, that he's dancing around there. And not just that he did this whole Mesiras Nefesh. While he's here, None of them are stupid. They know what a crane is all about. They know how to take a taxi from here and go to Odessa or any other place. They don't do it. And I don't care what kind of story someone's going to tell me that he knows about. Some Litvisher guy told me, they come to Oman, he heard that I don't care if there's some story like that someone went somewhere. It's not because he came to Oman. He would have done the same thing wherever he came from. But 99% from all these Rechoikim, they stay here Rosh Hashanah, they put on a kappel on themselves, and they get in love in the skalus, in the Seichel HaKoil of Rab Nachman. They don't even know what they're talking about. There's something that they feel in the air, they're dancing. So if you're a Breslover, and you're sitting by the Tzion, and you're trying to say Tikkun HaKloli, and you're aggravated from the music that they're knocking in your head, and you're saying this is not what the Rebbe wants. The Rebbe would want it to be quiet, and everyone should be able to say the Tikkun HaKloli b'kavana. You're making a mistake. He doesn't need now your Tikkun HaKloli. For the Rebbe, you're just like the second guy over there that came. You're nothing better than him. The only connection that you could have with the Rebbe, if you love him together and everyone's going to love each other, you'll also be able to be connected to the Seichel HaKolim. So, getting back to this thing that I said, I should have said in Yiddish. I would love to say in Yiddish, but probably I would awaken such a machlokes on myself by saying it, so I rather don't say it. But I'm telling you, this is the way a lot of Haredi people that come from Breslov are looking at the picture. It's like a b'diavad. You ask them, where do you daven? Where's your clothes? No, I'm not here. I'm over there. I'm in that shul. That's the high society shul, of the real Haredim, the Fruma guys, the real Breslovers. That's where I daven Rosh Hashanah. I come in here, because I have to say Tikkun HaKloli, but it's seeing. That's why I come here. It should be fakir. You should be busy walking around the streets of Pushkina, looking at every other Yid, telling him a good word, trying to love him. Yeah, it's not easy to love. And I'm saying it from a place, for me personal, it's very hard. I'm a very, how do you say in English, bikolti? Critical. I'm very. In a minute, I see something wrong, it's like, what's going on? What do you think? You came to Oman? What are you throwing me a glass in the middle of the streets? You're screaming, you're yelling. Every second person over here awakes to something that I don't like. But that's the avodah. The avodah is to go out of your own symptom. If you want to become part of the Seichel HaKloli and start loving and opening up it to him, and then you zoicha to bam is become the skal in the Rebbe, b'fchinas oyer tzadikim yismach. We should all be zoicha be'ezer Hashem. Through the personal avodah that we're going to do, to be mamtik our own dinim, we should be part of the big Seichel HaKolel and look at the beauty over here. And I have to be Messiah with one word. Who's saying a share after me? Maybe Rav Maimon? Oh, she just now came. Good. Rav Maimon. I was that way. Rav Nosson. Oh. I'm just going to finish. I just wanted to say one last thing, which I don't remember myself what I wanted to say.
But it's the last thing.
Yeah, but it's the last thing. It's the last thing. Oh, this is the idea. Yeah, I'm not going to like it probably. Oh. We know in Breslov that it was very important, Leil Rosh Hashanah, that everyone goes over to his friend in shul and says, Shana Toiva Tikosei v'Sechosim la'alta l'chaim Toivim l'sholom b'sifron shel tzadikim amitim. And look into the eyes of the second person, because the Cherino Rav writes that the or from the Rebbe, from the tzaddik, is in the whole kibbutz. So if you want to be connected, you should look into the eyes and get from this thing. So we always felt in Breslov that Rosh Hashanah b'night, the Rebbe comes down like from the heaven, and he comes down and he's with us together in the kibbutz. So I asked somebody, one of these Yiddish speakers, where do you think the Rebbe walks in first, Rosh Hashanah b'night? When he comes into Oman. You probably say he walks into the big klois. That's his chassidus. He walks into the klois, he says Gut Yontiv, and then he starts walking around Oman to see everybody. I said, no, I think you're making a mistake. The first place where the Rab Nachman comes in is probably, there's a shul here called Chazon Ovadia, where you have like 5,000 Bali Tshuvas davening. That's the first place where the Rebbe comes in to say Gut Yontiv. In your klois, I don't know if he's able to make it, he comes the last. Because the beauty of Rosh Hashanah is not you. The beauty of Rosh Hashanah is the whole picture of Oman. Everything together, being part of the whole picture, that's the tikkun. Shkoyach.